Welcome back. This is part 2 of our haul video, and let's see if we can get through this so that we don't have to turn it into a 3-parter. All right, we will get started as soon as we get back. Okay, how about a little more English as she is spoke? And for those of you who are unfamiliar, book written by a couple of Portuguese gentlemen, 1855. Not a word of English between them, but it didn't stop them from writing this book. So, more familiar phrases. The storm is go over. The sun begins to disabe it. Yes, disabe. The crop approach. The summer is go out. The winter no pleases me. The days begin to be grow. The spring please me too much. Read your lesson. Which prefer you? That's which with a T. The river is taking. No idea what it's taking. The paving stone is slippery. The thunderbolt is falling down. Is sure the road? The way is dreadful. The lodestone attract to himself the iron. There is it him into fine sheets. The rose trees begins to button. The ears are to length. The things have changed to aspect. The hands itch at him. The examples are contagious. My dear child, the dear guilt, have you forgetted me? Lay him her apron, mount your watch. That should must me to cost my life. Do not jest you two. No tell them. No, I have not tell him. Yes, familiar indeed. Okay, so we have some more stuff here, and let's take a look. Yesterday I mentioned Occupied Japan, and I was able to get a few Occupied Japan pieces. These two little, I'm going to call them trinket dishes. This one has a little Capodimonte style flower, and it's got all its fingers and toes, which is very important. Occupied Japan, nice. Same with this one. Nice. It's a simple design. And there's another piece. This is a cigarette box. You don't have to put cigarettes in it. You can put anything you want in it. But there was a time when these were on every coffee table or end table in America, and they were full of cigarettes. Cigarettes were like cocktail peanuts. You left them out for your friends. They weren't considered personal items, interestingly enough. Now, Occupied Japan is always going to be a good buy, and here's why. The period in which Occupied Japan pieces were made was very short, 1945 to 1952. So it's a short period of time. The pieces coming from Occupied Japan are all marked Occupied Japan, and they have been collectible for decades. Back in the 80s and 90s, the collectors' magazines were writing articles about how collectible this stuff was. And it's easy to collect because it does have that marking. Unlike some of the other made in Japan markings where, you either have to be able to read Japanese which I don't, or you have to be able to decipher the terms, Nippon being generally before the Second World War, Japan generally after. However, that's not carved in stone. The Japanese frequently put Japan on things before the Second World War, and they still have Nippon on things that are coming out today. So it's not carved in stone. It's just a general guideline. But occupied Japan is very, very specific. 1945, 1952, that's the only time that mark will be used. So it makes it very, very easy for collectors. And it sort of acquired a collector's market. The same piece, an identical piece, that would be marked occupied Japan or made in Japan, could go for 2 or 3 times as much just because of that occupied Japan mark. So when I find it, especially on small pieces like this, that I can get inexpensively and that I can sell inexpensively, I will grab them up. Even this piece was not very expensive. I believe it was marked $7 in the shop, and there was a discount on it. So they're still out there. The deals are still to be had. So that is the occupied Japan. So let's take a look at a few more comparison pieces. And what we have here are Japan salt shakers with that classic Noritake design. And remember, it's a little like stream or river and a tree, and sometimes, not always, a little house. These are not Noritake pieces. This is sort of a knockoff of Noritake, made in Japan nevertheless. Nice little shakers. These are also Japan, painted in a Noritake style, but they have windmills on them. They are very nicely executed. So we take a look at these two, and these were the better deal. The windmill design is more interesting and unusual. Now, the Noritake design is nice. It's a classic Japan design. But again, this is sort of a knockoff version. This one, better executed and an interesting design, because this, they do, by the way, have windmills in Japan. It's not like the Japanese wouldn't know a windmill if they fell over one. But a European design like a windmill is going to make this more interesting, more attractive to buyers. So, of these two, this was the better buy. Now we've got some more of these little Noritake designs. And we've got 2 sets right here. So, we have this, which is a tree design. And this one too, which is a tree. Better comparison than I thought. These are both nicely done. The trees are well executed. Again, a Noritake knockoff. These are not Noritake pieces. Gilding on the tops, very, very nice. I would have to look at these two and say, head to head, they're about equal. I would not necessarily expect one to sell for more than the other. If I did expect it, it would be this one, because of the blue and orange pattern, which tends to appeal to people a little more than the sort of green and orange of this one. I think the blue sets off the orange a little better. That's just my personal opinion. I don't really know why. The blue tends to be a little more appealing. Very much head-to-head, slight advantage on this one. All right, 2 more sets. And I grouped these together because of the similarity in the shape. This is a beautiful Lusterware set, very plain. It's got the peach on the bottom, the blue on the top, and the little black line around it. This one it's a basket of lemons on it, much more European design. Again, just about the same price, pretty much the same condition, really, really nice pieces. The Lusterware piece is going to appeal to Lusterware collectors more so than most other bits of Lusterware knickknack like this, because being so plain, a Lusterware collector can snap up this salt and pepper shaker and his friend, because it is a set, and add them to their existing Lusterware set seamlessly. So if you have, oh my goodness, almost any Lusterware pattern, it's going to have the blue, it's going to have the peach, and it's going to have a little black line on it somewhere. This will blend in to your set as if it were made for it. So that has an advantage to the Lusterware collectors. This, however, is a really nice, elegant little design. Unusual basket of lemons. This could appeal to people who are looking for something a little different, because lemons are not the sort of thing you often see on salt and pepper shakers, but beautifully painted. Nice design. Lusterware, versatile. I don't know. Maybe we're comparing apples and oranges here, or Lusterware and lemons, but I think both of these will find their collector market. I think both of them will probably do nicely. I'm going to go with this as a slightly better buy, mostly because I think that European design will probably resonate a little more, even though, as I say, these will slide into anyone's set of Lusterware dishes seamlessly. I'm going to give this one the plus here. Now, this is a piece of Noritake. And as you can see from the condition, and certainly you will see when I show you the slideshow, which I'm doing at the end of this video, just to make things a little different. Condition is definitely an issue on this piece. This is a trivet. You would have put a teapot on this, and it has little grooves in here which allow the heat to escape from the bottom of the teapot. When it's resting on the trivet, the heat just sort of slides out the grooves. Condition on this is definitely not good. So why did I break my condition rule and buy it? Simple. $1. I figured I will take a chance on this for $1 because it's a very unusual design for a Noritake piece. And it's just that simple. Unusual design, $1. I can afford to blow it out very inexpensively, and someone might want this. This, Nippon. These two, they're both trays, as you can see. No question about which one was the better buy. This was very inexpensive. This was, I think, $2.50. Beautiful Nippon piece. This piece is a card tray. Now, years ago, and well, frankly, as recently as the 40s and 50s, when women would pay social calls on one another, there would be a tray like this on a table in the front hall. They would leave their card. Didn't matter if the lady was home or not home. You came, you left your card. The reason for that was so that at the end of the week, The lady you visited would have a whole collection of cards. She'd pick them up, and then she would be obligated to go back and visit everyone who had left their card the following week. Also, if you didn't want to visit with somebody, you would drop by on a day when you expected they were not home, leave your card, and then, well, I stopped by. Um, it, Socially, it was a very pretentious time. There were a lot of rules, and frankly, leaving cards goes back hundreds of years. Um, in the 18th century, they were leaving cards. So that's what this is specifically. This is a card tray. I would say today it's probably going to be a change dish or something like that. Or who knows, somebody very pretentious may buy it and may put cards in it. I would. Nice piece, very simple, and as you can see, all of the design is around the edges because the cards would be here in the middle. So it's a nice little piece from a bygone era. And as I say, somebody might actually want it for that purpose. Might end up going to a Jane Austen fan. Who knows? Between these two, however, we know this was the better buy. This was I'm taking a chance because I don't often see moose on Chinese pieces. And we'll see. But you need to be able to take a chance every now and then. Okay, 2 miniature pieces. This is a little Japanese vase, and it's in that same Noritake style. This is a design they made famous. And this is just a really nice little child's teapot. Lusterware, it's got a bird on it. This would be considered nothing more than a toy. Miniature vase, probably in the same general category. The reason I got both of them was they're simply very, very attractive, and whatever their original function was, they will probably serve a completely different function in the home of whoever purchases them. This is probably not going to be a child's piece. It's probably going to go into somebody's porcelain display collection simply because it's so beautiful. These charming little birds. This, either it will be used to hold flowers, a little bud or two, or it's just going to go into somebody's porcelain collection. I have a number of little bits of porcelain on one of my end tables, but they're just there because I like them, because they're pretty. It's probably what's going to happen to this. In terms of better buy, I think the teapot is going to be a faster, easier sell. I think I paid about the same for both, but this one's going to move a little faster, and I think that's because of the bird design. These two are little Japanese cosmetics jars. These would have sat on a dresser. They would have held creams or whatever. Yeah, I have no idea what people were sticking on their faces back then, but they would have lived in jars like these. These were $3 a piece. They were just too sweet to pass up. They are both made in Japan pieces. Geishas, Moriage, really good condition. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. They are too similar to have any great difference in value. I suppose if you like the little rounded shape better than this, nevertheless, I think these were both reasonably good purchases because items like this, they're not going to hold cosmetics. What they are probably going to hold is rings or small bits of jewelry. I do that with my earrings because Lord only knows where I am when I take them off. So I have little pieces like this scattered all over the house so that when I take off my earrings, I have something to put them in, because if I don't, the cat will get them. So, oh, that's it. I think I'm going to need to advertise these for people with cats and earrings. Nice little pieces. Lusterware here. It's a nice piece of Noritake lusterware. Interesting design. Blue, and this is not the classic peach. This is much more of a dark orange. And in these little medallions, and so be sure to notice when you see the slideshow, fruit. So this is clearly a fruit bowl. It's nice. What are we looking at? About 7 inches. Nice little handle. Very good condition given the age. Really sweet piece. This, which is a celery or relish dish. I am not sure where this is made. I was not able to read the marking on the back. European, probably Germany. Again, a lusterware piece. Very different from this one, though, whereas this one has very bright, vibrant colors. These colors are so soft. It's a silver moving into a yellow. Very, very different. Even the flowers are of a very different style. Japanese lusterware, European lusterware. Of the two, I think the Japanese piece will probably resonate more with modern taste than the German piece, but it's very beautiful and very subtle. So it was worth picking up. Hard to say. I'm going to give the edge to the Japanese piece. Okay, 2 Japanese pieces. Is this left in? No. This one is. Made in Japan. We've got our classic little Noritake pattern that we see all the time. Tree, little house, water, classic. Nice piece. I got this at a good price. I don't remember what it was. I think it was $5. Nice, nice piece. Ginger jar for potpourri. It's got little holes so you can shove your potpourri in there. And this came full of potpourri. I asked Jocelyn if we could talk to her father, and see if this was somebody's ashes, and maybe he'd come over and say a prayer when we dumped it in the trash. No, it was actually a bunch of rose petals. Still smells like somebody's grandmother's house. Left it. And that's one of the companies that imported pieces from Japan. Very nice, not very Japanese in appearance. Certainly looks much more Western. And so I chose these two as the head-to-head comparison. Japanese, Western Japanese. They're both probably from the same era, which I would say is 60s to 70s. Which one was the better buy? At around the same price, I'm going to have to say this one. Because even though this is a ginger jar, and ordinarily ginger jars sell very, very well, it's modern. It's designed for potpourri. I think that has the potential to hurt the value a little. Now, it won't hurt it too much, because when I say modern, I'm talking 60s or 70s. I'm not talking last Tuesday. But also, I think people want a little more of an Asian look in their ginger jars. Now, I could be wrong, but that's why I would give the edge to this piece, which has a much more Japanese look to it. So let's scoop these out of the way. Lusterware bowl. With that beautiful, we got the peach lusterware with the little black line. And just take a look at that design on the inside. Very modern, very contemporary. The piece, however, is not modern. This is definitely vintage. Really, really interesting. I would say this is one of those bowls that's going to end up sitting on a coffee table and nobody's going to put anything in it. They're just going to appreciate it. Maybe it'll end up on a console. Beautiful lines, this wonderful scalloped edge. This is a great, great piece. And here's the comparison piece. This one has our peach lusterware. This one has the blue. They're both Japanese pieces. Beautiful floral design on the inside. And again, it's a very contemporary sort of look, although we have a more traditional design on the inside. These, in both cases, these are bowls that are going to sit on tables or consoles. They're not going to be stuck with fruit or anything. They're designed just to be viewed. Absolutely beautiful pieces. They were, I believe, exactly the same price, $5 a piece. Oh my goodness, how could I pass them up? Beautiful, stunning pieces. Condition is really great on both of them. Just enough wear to substantiate the fact that these are not modern. These are vintage pieces. They come by that sort of mid-century look, honestly. These are not new. The better buy of the two is probably this one, because the design is so unusual and so striking. Now, I love this one as well, but I'm going to give this one the edge a little tiny bit. But again, $5. That is not bad. Okay, final two pieces. My goodness, we did this in 2 videos. Didn't think that was possible. This, we were speaking of Kitsch on Saturday. This is kind of Kitsch. This is a mid-century planter shaped like a slice of cake. This is a piece made in Japan. It's unmarked, but in fact, yeah, it's totally unmarked. I actually had one of these in my Etsy shop before, sold it, so I know there should be a made in Japan sticker on the bottom that has gone long missing. It's a known quantity. I had no trouble selling this piece. Condition is great. This will sell quickly and easily because people like cake. Actually, I believe the one that sold went to someone who had a cake decorating business. That's actually what she did. But someone who likes to bake, someone who decorates cakes, believe me, this is going to find a home. And our little comparison piece is, yes, a wonderful Nippon piece, much older. One of the ways you can tell that pieces from Asia, Asian China, is old is when you look at the gilding. Now, top of the line pieces will be gilded in real gold, so they will be lustrous like this. But more, well, I don't want to say bottom line because that's not true. These are nice pieces. They're just not absolutely top of the line. The more attainable pieces, the gilding is dull. It's got a more brassy look. And frankly, they just did not have the technology when they were making these pieces. This piece is probably at least 100 years old. They didn't have the technology to do fine gilding. So it's an indicator of age. And when you're looking at Asian porcelain, you want to take a look at that. Does it have a dull, brassy look? Probably telling you it's old. Not that it's cheap and shabby, but that it's got some age to it. And this is just a beautiful piece. So these two became the comparison pieces only because they were the ones that were left over. This I won't have any trouble selling. This I will not have any trouble selling. These were both good buys. So that is our haul video. Now I want you to get a chance to see everything up close. So we're very quickly going to have a little bit of a slideshow so you get pictures of all of these. And I know we're running a little over half an hour. Sorry about that. Hey, it's video. You can always stop it when you please. All right, I will see you all next week. Have a great week. Now, video.